everybody. Welcome to Tad Talk. It's a bit cooler today. Dropped down to like 120.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But I'm here again with my partner in crime with another jacket. How is that, like your 72nd jacket?
Well, you know, don't hate me, but I've worn this one before on another Tad Talk episode. I'm losing it. I gotta keep up with the jacketisms.
Well, this is my 76th shirt. It just happens to be the same one I always wear.
And the second wash.
As you can see behind me, we've got an amazing guest today. Funny and brilliant at the same time, but don't take my word for it. Check out this video.
Ever since I can remember, all I've ever wanted to be was a magician.
When you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough.
To amaze your audience, but to keep it.
You're older than you thought. So take hold of those cards for me. Been married to this man for 40 years. What's your name, mate? Any idea? Dennis? Okay, what's his name? I'm through here. Now, to me, by the way, I am available for children's parties. Alright?
Wow, you know I love magic. That's great. Welcome to the show, Dain Cordean.
Hello, hello.
Hey! Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Enjoyed that bit of video then. It's almost like a trip down memory lane now. It seems like a lifetime ago that I was even doing a gig, but hopefully that'll change soon, right?
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, boy, it's funny. We see lots of videos on the show, and we just miss being on stage. I mean, I do think aside from the economical factor, it's the I was going to say ego, but I don't mean it in a bad way. But it does
confidence.
Yeah,
it's the confidence and energy that you bring to it. It just makes it
Yeah, that's it. And it's like food and water to us. You know, we actually, you know, it's not what we do, it's who we are. So we're sort of built up from this. And I don't know about you guys, but you know, my family are finding me less and less funny as time goes on. I need to get back to work to get a renewed faith in my own humour.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we start off Tad Talk as we do every single show with 3 random Nick Davies questions.
That's right.
How are you, mate?
Good. They've upgraded now from quick fire questions to Nick Davies questions.
Yeah,
that's right. We've trademarked that. So here we go.
Cool.
The first question for you today. If you went to prison and all of your family and friends took a poll guessing why you were arrested, what do you think most of them would say?
Easy. Disturbing the peace.
What specifically? What specifically do you think?
I don't know, my general loudness, I suppose, and general annoyance, you know, and the willingness to show card tricks. No more tricks, no, just a quick one. No, don't want any more. Right, can you take him away? That's what it would be.
Stopping traffic middle in the road, knocking on their window, They're scared to death. Pick a card. All right.
I really have to calm that down.
Second question. If you could bring back one performer who we've lost for one more show that you could attend, who would it be?
This is a real tough one. I think I'd have to say, it would have to be a magician, actually. Someone that I only remember as a little kid watching, but now it would be interesting to see how it would be covered now. this guy called David Nixon, very famous magician in the 1970s and 60s, 50s, one of the early pioneers of TV magic in the UK. He was absolutely fantastic, known as the gentleman of magic, still is to this day, and he's still held in high esteem, by magicians all over the world. And it would be really nice to see his kind of pleasant gentleness be let loose on a TV audience of nowadays, I think, because I think it would be just as strong. A lot of these people, were very much ahead of their time. Like you talk about Morecambe and Wise, a lot of people say Eric Morecambe, very funny guy that was ahead of his time. I think Tommy Cooper's stuff or Ballantyne in America, very much ahead of their time, and would stand up to today's audiences. And I think that'd be the same with David Nixon. So it would be him for me, I reckon.
I have not heard the name David Nixon in 30 years, 25 years. He was brilliant. But now this is my memory going. Did Anita Harris work with David, or was that a different?
That's right. Yeah, she was the assistant to a lot of his shows.
I do remember that. Yeah, he was fantastic. Is David still around? Is he still with us or not? Has he passed away?
No wonder you haven't heard from him for 30 years. Well, he died in 1978, Terry.
Well, it's only a few
Well, I think
years.
he did. He'd be bloody annoyed if they buried him, because he did die, I think.
Brilliant. And you mentioned one of my comedy heroes, Tommy Cooper, who I had the pleasure of working with back in '79 for a bunch of shows. Funniest person I've ever been around, let alone on stage. Brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that's it. He got a little bit annoyed in sometimes, didn't he? Because people laughed at him just through entering a room, and he'd be like, "Why are they laughing?" I'm trying to be serious here, and nobody took him seriously. That was his thing. He was the clown prince of everything, really.
Brilliant.
But I think that might have sort of told him a little bit. I mean, he started his act, didn't he, from backstage, the first 20 minutes of his act or something?
Dane, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I played piano in the band, and we played Chic of Araby, and that would be the intro. And sometimes we would be playing it 5 minutes. And he's the only guy I've ever known, and I've said this a couple of times on the show, who would have a standing ovation before he walked on the stage. He would be fighting to get out the dressing room that he locked himself in, and he's doing his iconic laugh and talking to himself. It's brilliant, mate.
It's amazing. I mean, you don't get that these. I mean, it was rare then, but it's just unheard of now.
And you try to explain it. I tried to explain it to Nick. I said, "You got to watch Tommy Cooper. He had a gate on the stage, like a gate would be in the middle of the field, and he would walk through the gate for no reason." And the audience would be in stitches laughing.
My God.
It was amazing. It's funny, but just naturally.
Because it was him doing it. And when they did there was an auction for a lot of his props as well, the Tommy Cooper auction. And a lot of people received suitcases full of what could only be termed as junk. I mean, you wouldn't know what to do with this stuff, but in the hands of this genius, it was a 45-minute set, pure comedy, and and everything hit. I mean, everything got a laugh.
And a massive...
And it was important that, you get as many laughs as you can in a show, and with him, it was just constant overlapping. It was amazing.
It was great. It was great times. All right. What was that a question? I can't remember.
That was, yeah.
What were we doing?
There's one more, and this one is a tougher question, but I love this one. A big Hollywood casting director calls you and asks you to play the main role in a biopic about a celebrity. If this were to happen, which celebrity do you think they'd most likely ask you to portray, and which celebrity do you think would be least likely?
I think I'd probably more likely to be asked to play, say, the younger years of Russell Crowe. And
is that because of the gladiator outfit that you had to wear? Anything to do with
Yeah, very much so, yeah. I thought we all had one of them. And most unlikely, probably Russell Crowe, actually. I don't know, it's a difficult one. I mean, I could do it if it was something about someone funny, I don't know. I would always like to see, just about, for our English people, the likes of Bob Monkhouse and those sort of people that had a great sort of life story to show on screen. I'd love to be part of something like that, you know,
Yeah.
and because these people have had such colourful careers, too many to mention, really. I mean, I suppose we all have in one time. That's the good thing about this business that we love so much, is that it takes you on so many different journeys, doesn't it? And
No kidding.
you meet so many different sort of people. I know when I was growing up, actually, I went to school with a guy, Dominic, and his uncle was Stanley Kubrick, the film director.
Oh, wow.
And I was 8 years old, and we went to the filming of The Shining when they were doing a lot of the filming in the UK, because I lived near Chidbury, where Stanley Kubrick lived, you know, and us kids, I mean, I was 8 years old. We went to meet Scatman Crothers, who appeared in the film, because he did the voice of Hong Kong Phooey. Do you remember that?
Oh my
I do,
God.
yeah.
Yeah. And we thought we were meeting this star of, you know, I mean, there was Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall, all these other people there, but we didn't care. We were going to see, you know, Hong Kong Phooey. We thought it was fantastic. So, yeah, I'd love to be part of films.
Yeah.
Just to give it a go, you know?
Absolutely. Remind me of the question, because I want to answer this.
If a casting director called you and asked you to play the main part of a biopic of any celebrity, which celebrity do you think they would ask you to play, and which celebrity do you think would be least likely that they'd ask you to play?
I think mine would be Oliver Hardy. or John Goodman a few years ago. John Campbell. Some of those guys.
Yeah.
And then least likely, someone that I'd be least likely, Sylvester Stallone in his Rocky days. I think that, I don't think I'd do a good job.
Yeah, because you need to run up steps.
Sylvester Stallone in the Rocky Days as well.
Yeah, not handling those steps, not liking those steps. While you're watching the show, you can go on our social wall, which is a lot of fun. You can do that by checking this little wall that we got here. All the stuff happening. People are already posting about Dain, and we got some behind-the-scenes stuff, and Kev, and
Bunch of people.
yeah. So go ahead and all you do is tweet. And hashtag Tad Talk, and we'll see you on the social wall. Go and post your stuff every day, day after day. Let's talk about Dain. Dain, how did you? I'm a bit of a magic freak. I love magic, and cannot do one trick successfully to save my life. I think years ago, my granddad bought me a magic kit for £10, or maybe it was 10 shilling. I don't know. And I couldn't do anything, mate. I couldn't do it. I can't shuffle cards. Complete waste of time.
You know, it's strange, I think. You just, I've heard this from a few people. I don't know if you remember, you would have met Dave Evans, great cabaret artist that sadly, you know, no longer with us from, you know, passed on last year, Dave. And this guy was multi-talented. I mean, he could sing any tune, he could play any instrument, he could do any impression and write any joke, and he was absolute genius. But you put a pack of cards in his hand, he didn't have a clue. I tried to teach him a trick, and he just couldn't do it. He said, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. He said, that's when you really know that, you know, what you do is part of you, and, you know, you've either got a thing for this sort of stuff or you haven't, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't feel on your own there. You know, you're up there with the greats that couldn't shuffle a pack of cards, mate. I mean, it takes a bit of practice, I must admit. I mean, it's a lifetime's work with me, but...
So when did it start for you?
My whole family was part.
When did it start? How young were you? How young were you when you started doing tricks? That didn't sound right, did it? How young were you when you started doing tricks? Magic tricks.
Doing and turning, they're different things. Doing tricks. I was about, I don't know, I was told by my parents that I was about 4 or 5 years old. But it wasn't a thing where I got a magic set for Christmas. It was actually my brother that got a magic set for Christmas, the way I remember it. And I got a guitar. And I looked at it and I didn't fancy playing the guitar. So I swapped presents with my brother. He ended up being a rock musician in a band, and I went on to shuffle cards for a living. That's how I remember it happening. But I came from a bit of a showbiz background anyway. My mum was in the business. She was a dancer years ago. Bit of a showbiz family, really. My dad, for a time, was a stage hypnotist. He went out doing the clubs. We had a sewing machine. That was a singer. We got yeah.
See, hang on a second, mate.
Yeah,
I've got to explain that joke to Nick. You see, we have this generation gap. Do you get the gig? Do you get the gag?
Yeah.
What's the gag? I had a sewing machine that was a singer. Sewing machine company is called Singer.
Oh.
They made sewing machines,
Okay.
and he had a sewing machine. Oh, whatever.
I just go to H&M.
Wow, Nick.
I'm sorry. I've never used a candle to light a room. I don't know. I don't know these things.
The old-fashioned stuff.
When I agreed to this, they didn't say it was going to be such a tough room, Nick. To be fair, I was expecting a bit more, you know.
You have him.
Brilliant. So the whole family's in the industry. That's great.
Yeah. My mum was the dancer, and that's where I used to go and go to work with my mum. She was part of a company called Pure Corn Company, which was headed by a guy called Lee Tracy. There was a few comics who were, part of the company, like Chubby Oates. I don't know if you remember that name, Terry. Chubby Oates, great comic from the past. A few of the old drag acts, and there were some magicians as well. And I got to meet the likes of Terry Seabrook and Patrick Page doing these shows, and it was just the sort of thing that I wanted to get into. I saw that there was always 2 or 3 magicians on the bill, and they were the ones, of course, as a kid that I wanted to watch. And in the end, of course, emulate. And I was lucky enough to sort of have kind of a flair for it, where it just sort of made sense to me. Academically at school, I wasn't great, but they saw that I was dead keen on magic, so they used to get me to, hold assemblies for the rest of the kids and all the rest of it, and do, certain tricks on the teachers and all that, and then send me to other schools as well. So they kind of pushed me in the right direction as well. They encouraged me, at school, which was great. And then, of course, the hobby became a job, and that's where we're up to now.
No, it's brilliant. I don't know if I'm going to catch this, but I'm going to go to the social wall real quick, because all the people watching this. But if you look on the left-hand side, we've got a Pomsky white dog who watches Tad Talk every day. I don't know if you can see that, Dain. He's just disappeared right now. That's Kenny Doggins, and he watches Tad Talk every day. Brilliant stuff.
Kenny Doggins.
Kenny Doggins. We're playing trivia following the show. It's a great trivia game. It's called tadtrivia.com/Dain, D-A-I-N. And play that. You can win prizes. We're going to win some signed memorabilia. Hey, Dain, what can we give away of yours? What do you have that you don't want?
I've got my own magic sets.
Do you really?
Yeah. Dain Cordean magic sets. I got them done around March, April time to sell after gigs. So I've got a limited number of, I think, 850 to 1,000, yeah. And if I run out of them, I've got another 850 in the garage. So, I can give one of them away. One of my magic sets.
The first
Dain Cordean street magic set.
The first 850 people in trivia. What?
I'm going to win?
What do you think?
No. I don't think so. So if you play trivia, it's tadtrivia.com/Dain, and you're going to be able to win a signed box of magic tricks, the Dain Cordean magic tricks, and $100 in Tad Travel bucks. Tad Travel is a company that take VIP travel experiences all over the world. That is, when we can start traveling again.
Yes.
Yes, and we can't wait. Maybe to see one of Dain Cordean's show.
That'll work.
It'd be pretty
Never know.
So you can put that on your smartphone or your tablet now, and we'll be playing immediately after the show. So Dain, being from England, so Nick was born in England. Nick was born in Liverpool, but I don't really hold that against him.
No, I shouldn't. No.
You could have changed that. You had the power to not have me.
Yeah, sorry.
Come out there.
I'm going to go back to the social wall
I don't know if he did or not, to be honest with you, Nick. I don't know if he had the power.
Oh, he's gone again. We'll catch Kenny Doggins at some point. Where are you from, Dain?
Originally, I was born in Hertfordshire.
Okay.
And in Bushy in Hertfordshire, near St Albans. And I was brought up we moved everywhere. And I started off in St Albans in Hertfordshire. Then I moved to a little seaside village called Waterloo-on-the-Naze, which is in Essex. Right. And then after living there for a few years, then I moved to Norfolk, Great Yarmouth. And then after that, I moved to London for a while because I had a bit of a stint in London. And then I moved to South Shields in the northeast.
Right.
Because the house prices are great, and that's where I am now.
Oh, you're in South Shields now?
I am, yeah.
I
South
didn't realise
Shields,
that.
on the northeast coast.
Yeah. Have you been to South Shields?
I think I've been to North Shields.
Yeah, well, there is a North Shields as well.
Okay, no.
It's all
It
in that
is.
northeast corridor with Newcastle and Middlesbrough and that. The hardest.
That's it, yeah.
Back in the day, the hardest audiences in the world. I spent a week there one night. It was tough audiences, you know. But
And I'm not just saying this, but they are the toughest audiences, but the nicest people.
brilliant. Yes.
They really are. You know, I mean, I've been welcomed with open arms. You know, I'm married into the area, so I'm what's known as an honorary Geordie up here. And it took the first sort of 6 months for them and me to understand each other, to be honest with you. But after we've sort of cracked that, everyone's great up here. It's such a beautiful part of the country as well. And the beaches are fantastic because I'm in a seaside town, you know. I see a lot of the ships leaving and entering because they come through the River Tyne and they dock up in North Shields, actually. Quite right, it does exist.
Right.
And the Port of Tyne, where a lot of ships go out of, you know, they're always there. And just at the top of my road, you can see the odd funnel or two. We just had Oceana parked up for the last couple of weeks, which has just been sold by P&O. That's been here for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lovely ship as well. I remember lots of good memories on that ship. Fantastic place to work. And it's just sad that it's gone now. You know, P&O sold it on.
Yeah.
And it was even sadder in Tyne Docks, just there looking a bit lonely. You know, for the first
Yeah.
part of lockdown. But,
No,
you know,
absolutely.
things
They're on
move
its
on,
own.
I suppose.
I think Kenny Doggins is trying to steal the limelight, but there he is watching Tad talk. As he does. He sits on that chair and watches Tad talk. Kenny Doggins is Nick's dog.
What's he saying?
Huh?
What's he saying then, Kenny Doggins?
He's saying, I can't understand the word Dain Cordean saying, Dad.
That's what Gates said.
Hey, Dain, we've got 3 random either-or questions for you. Throwing you at these. You ready?
Throwing you at
Okay.
these.
Throwing these at you. What did I say?
Throwing you at these.
Yeah, it's a long day. I don't
Go
know.
on, throw me at these.
Here
Go
we
on, you do
go.
it.
Throwing you at these. Throwing these at you. Would you rather never be able to wear pants again, or never be able to wear shorts again?
Never to be able to wear pants again.
Okay, the magician with a pair of shorts on. I love it. Would you rather live the next 10 years of your life in China or Russia?
China or Russia?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Russia.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to Russia and I quite like Russia actually. I think China's a bit too busy for me. It's a
Yeah.
bit too chaotic, you know what I mean? That sent me over the edge. I think Russia, there's a bit more sort of, you know, there's a bit more order there.
Yeah.
And people, you know, they're directed what they're going to do. I need to be told what to do a lot of the time. So, yeah, Russia. And it's beautiful as well, isn't it? St. Petersburg, I love that place.
We love
We've all
St.
been there.
Petersburg, don't we?
Lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, we love St. I'm saying we love St. Petersburg, but when I say we, I mean me, because Nick doesn't.
Do you not like the Baltic?
Is there
Not
a
like the
story
Baltics,
here?
Nick?
No, it's because we performed on cruises for quite a few years, and we stopped at ports after port after port after port. And I like it when people smile at me, which I did not get in St. Petersburg. But I think I would choose China out of that, just because there's 2 Disney parks there.
Oh, okay.
You know?
I get it.
That's it.
Well, there is that.
There is that. There is
Is
that.
there not any Disney in Russia?
Could you? I don't think so. I don't see how that would happen. Disney in
Well,
Russia.
you wouldn't with China, really. You know, there's
That's
that
true.
whole thing that people say, that, you know, there might be, I think there's one in Hong Kong, isn't there?
There is one in Hong
Yeah.
Kong. Yeah. Maybe you could
Yeah,
imagine
I know that.
Disney Russia.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
I think we should do it.
That'd be cool.
One more for you. You're locked in your house. And you can only eat one thing. Do you want unlimited fish and chips with no salt and vinegar?
Oh.
Or unlimited sausage rolls with HP sauce?
Sausage rolls all day long.
You too?
Well, if there's no salt
Yeah,
and
I'm not
vinegar,
interested in salt. Fish and chips without salt and vinegar, it's like peaches without cream, isn't it? You can't be doing that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's crazy. We're playing trivia after this. It's going to be a fun trivia today. It's tadtrivia.com/Dean. Check it out. Also, all kind of questions. You are going to be able to win a magic. What do you call it, Dean? Is it a magic set?
It's called the Dain Cordean Executive Street Magic Set.
Hang on
That's
a
the
second.
title of it.
Did I just call you Dean?
Amongst other things, yes.
Okay. All right.
But it's fine. The thing is, I have to explain it's my real name. It's not a stage name. So it comes with its own set of problems, and it has done all my life. When people think they've heard my name wrong and they ask me, what's your name? I say Dain. They say Dave. I go, no, Dain. Dale? No, Dain. Can you spell it? Yes, D-A-I-N. Diane? Yeah, it's Diane. Yeah. You get your name right. You know, I've had it all my life, mate. So
And then it gets
I
complicated.
know what you mean.
And then it's complicated because then you've got Dean in your second name. So is it Dain or Dean?
Yeah.
It's Dean. It's Dain Cordean. No, it's Dain Cordean.
Oh, there he goes again. Look.
So it's tadtrivia.com
Your medication.
/Dain, D-A-I-N. Play trivia for
There's no / in my name, mate. No, it's just Dain Cordean.
/ is the only one to do, but that's another show.
Right, yeah.
We're giving away the Executive Magic Set by Dain Cordean and $100 in Tad travel bucks, and this will be a blast. It's been a good show today.
it has been.
I've
It's been
enjoyed
great.
it.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Just because we've had a couple of magicians on since we started Tad Talk.
It's catching. See, it's catching.
Yeah,
He's doing the name.
You can tell I don't.
Now I'm a guitarist again.
I'm definitely the apple, and I didn't fall far. But the question I have, and this seems to be a thing with all magicians that we bring on, because we always ask the two people, one place, which we'll ask in a bit. But one person that we do get a lot, and I've always wondered this, because sometimes you hear a famous name in a certain field, and you wonder if that person is as respected in the field they're in, rather than just to the people looking in.
Oh, yeah,
What I mean is Houdini, Harry Houdini. Most magicians respect him and admire him as much as people who don't know anything about magic, looking into the magical realm, the magical world. Is he as respected in the magic world as people say he is?
Absolutely. I mean, to be serious for a second, that's enough. Houdini, for any magician, is because he was known as the ultimate showman. I mean, that's what he wanted to be. He was amazing at self-publicising him, and doing these crazy stunts outside and around the theatres that he was working at the time. And the work that he did, and it was a lifetime's commitment. And this is what I always say about proper show people, that their lifetime's commitment to pleasuring other people from their own talents, whether it be singing, dancing, magic, comedy, whatever it is. If they've got a love for it and it's an extension of their personality and they're good enough to share that with people, Houdini was certainly the best exponent of what he did at his time. And I was lucky, actually, a couple of years ago, Fred Olsen ship, actually, which were doing a great cruise called Old England to New England, or vice versa. And it was visiting all the places in America that had the same titles, the same names as places in England, like Norfolk,
cool.
Virginia, those sort of places. And we went to New York, and I took an Uber over to Queens to the Macpella Cemetery to find Houdini's grave. I was on a bit of a pilgrimage, but no one told me that Macpella Cemetery is the largest cemetery in the world. It's visible from space.
Oh my God!
And I want to see Houdini's grave in, I think it's 3.5 miles of graves. And the Uber driver Because he said, where to? I was like, Macpella Cemetery. He said, what part? I said, every part. So it was just so happened that while we were looking at the grave, as we were entered by the roadside, I saw this huge kind of plot, and on it was the bust of Houdini, and there alongside him is his mum, his dad, his brother, various people from the family. But very sadly, his wife Bess, when she died, the family refused to bury her with her husband because he was Jewish and she was Catholic, and they refused to bury her in a Jewish part of the cemetery. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So on Houdini's grave, there's the date that he died and all that, engraved into the stone. And by him, there's Best's name, but it's been left blank where she doesn't rest there, unfortunately. And it was a quintessential love story with those two. He was a cabaret that, got involved with a dancer, which is very unusual in this business of ours. But they got together. They became a double act. Then, she worked with him. Then he went into the escapology. And it was just the way he did things. Not what he did so much, but the way he did it. Like with everything, he gave that edge of originality and being unique with what he did. And, it must have been pretty good to still be talked about 100 years later, So, definitely. To answer your question, very much respected by every magician I would talk to anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, this has been a great show today. Thanks for being on it, Dain. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Learning about that. I still didn't get to learn a magic trick, which I'm pretty bummed about, but maybe the next show we'll do that. Don't forget to stick around after the show. We've got tadtrivia.com/Dain. You can scan that QR code now and just hold it on your smartphone. We've got one more question for Dain, but just to hold that on your smartphone or your tablet, and we'll be playing trivia. 20 questions to win $100 in Tad Travel bucks, and also to win this executive magic set from Dain Cordean. Dain, we got one question for you that we ask on every show, and it's this: if you could spend the next 60 minutes with any two people, it could be family, maybe family members you've lost, or celebrities or historical figures, and go to any one place in the world, who would you like to spend the next hour with? Two people. Where are you going to go, and what are you going to talk about?
I think first of all, I'll do a celebrity one. I'll do a celebrity one and a personal one. So the first one's a celebrity one, and it would be great, I mentioned him earlier, British comedian Bob Monkhouse, who I was honoured to work with as his warm-up at the Commodore International in Nottingham some years ago, before he grew ill and passed. But the chat we had was all too short. He turned out to be one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And I always say, with people that are at the top of their tree, people that have actually accomplished what you see them do and everything. He was an absolute genius in the field of comedy. He was just very humble and very modest as well. And he even let me share his dressing room with him, because it sounded like I was moaning. I wasn't moaning, but I went to his dressing room and I remarked how nice it was. And he said, "Why, what have you got?" And I said, "Well, basically, I do have a door, and there's a hook on the wall for my suit. That's it." He said, "Well, come in here." So I got to share his room with the flowers and the fridge and the minibar and the ride and the sausage rolls.
Nice.
And the fish and chips with salt and vinegar and drinks and all that. So I'd like to bring him back.
Okay.
Because the chat we had, and I said to him, "Listen, Bob," I said, "there's a thing that I do in the act, which involves the newspaper. It's an old trick, but I do read parts of the newspaper out of news stories of that day to keep it topical." I said, "But I realised that you do something similar, and to be honest, I got the idea from you doing it anyway, so I will cut that bit out." And he said, "No." He said, "With all due respect to you, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive." He said, "Don't worry, I'll be watching on the side. I don't want you to change a thing. Just do your show and enjoy it." So I did. and he was sure enough in the wings of the venue watching my show, which was a little bit unsettling, to be honest with you. Actually, he got on my nerves, if I'm fair, and I was just in awe of this guy anyway. And as I left, he tapped me on the shoulder, said well done, and said, I think I'll be hearing a lot more of you, and never spoke to him again.
Wow.
But if I had a chance, I would. So that would be my celebrity one, I think.
Okay.
Personally, it's very unusual, but my dear old nan, I think, from my dad's side, she, when my mum and dad went through their kind of split up and everything, they were in the business as well. We didn't see them, so it was left up to my nan, my poor old nan, to bring us up, and that was me, my brother, and my sister. And that's when we moved to Walton-on-the-Naze. We lived on the seafront there in her house, and I mean, you know, she was our nan. She wasn't going to be a parent again, but she brought us up. She gave us a home, and she was one of the most amazing people that you could ever wish to meet. She was absolutely wonderful, beautiful. We all miss her, even though she died in 1995. And I was at the time at a place called the Talk of London on Drury Lane, and I was in a residency there when she died, and the people at the Talk of London let me off one night so that I could go to the house, pay my respects, and then come back to work. So I think it would be, yeah, my nan, definitely, because she was lovely.
Bob Monkhouse and your nan. That's brilliant, mate. Great answer.
Yeah.
We've never had Bob Monkhouse before in an answer, have we?
Or your nan.
Yeah, we never had your nan.
Absolutely. Why not?
What a great show. Thanks for being a guest on the show today, Dain. This has been a great time. Have you had a good time?
Yeah, this has been a good one.
It's been fun, and now we're doing a Disney park in Russia.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Just get started. There's no time to waste. They're waiting for us.
It'll be the most magical one. I know it.
If you've enjoyed the show, go and tweet about it. Go and tweet about it on Twitter and just hashtag Tad Talk. We'll see you on our social wall. Once again, Nick and Dain, thanks so much for being on the show with us today. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of Tad Talk.